Amen. You come on around. You pray for their life. God is so. Bless you, Lord.
Tonight I'm sort of going to preach on those hard times.
Bless
Zach, Jason, you're going to pass out papers.
you. Amen.
Right now they're passing out just small little half sheets of papers. And these are only meant for one purpose, and they're only for you.
Bless you, Lord.
The reason we're doing this everything here is backed by Bible. The reason that I want to do this is because in Proverbs chapter 29, verse 18, it says, where there is no vision, the people perish.
Amen.
So tonight, I'm going to have Shane play a song, and during this song, I want you to write down your vision for your life. Doesn't matter what the doctor says possible, doesn't matter what other people say is possible, write down what you want God to do in your life on that piece of paper. And wait till everyone gets one. And after you do that, well, if you still have time with the song playing, you might want to go and find the book of Habakkuk, because that's where a large portion of this is going to come from tonight. And if you have trouble finding it, it's about an hour worth of reading in front of Matthew. Does everybody have a pen, or do I need to pass those out too? I want to pass them out, Jason. So if you find your place in Habakkuk chapter 1, I'm going to read a couple verses here and the next chapter. And as I read in Proverbs earlier, where there is no vision, the people perish. Which kind of makes sense. If we don't have a goal, if we don't have an end in mind,
Aye.
there's no point.
That's right.
Then we're just going to church, next morning going to work, go to work 5 days a week, take Saturday off, go back to church on Sunday, repeat the next week. There's no point if we don't have a goal in mind. And if we're not fighting for something, then we're losing. As Brother said in Brotherhood this morning, if there's no goal, if you're not reaching for something, a football player's not reaching for the end zone, there's no point in him even going out there.
Aye.
You know, they told me all my life, because I played baseball for many years, my dad always told me, if you go out into the field knowing you're going to lose, you're going to lose. Because you have no goal. You have no goal to win. In Habakkuk chapter 1, verse 5, says, Behold ye among the heathen in regard, and wonder marvelously, for I will work a work in your days, which ye will not be able to believe, though it be told you. Now, that's a pretty powerful verse there.
Aye.
God's telling these people, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to do it, and you're still not going to believe it. That's how amazing what I can do is.
That's it.
Like,
That's important.
that's our God.
Yeah.
If you turn over to the next chapter, chapter 2, verse 2, says, And the Lord answered me and said, Write the vision, and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak, and not lie.
That's right.
Though it tarry, wait for it,
Bless
because it will surely come, it will not tarry.
Bless it.
That's right. Read that again.
You know, it may not come when you want it to, but God's got a plan.
Aye.
Touch him, Lord.
You see, that's the point of the vision. That's the point of writing it down, is so that when you
That's right.
write it down, you go back to it later and say, God answered that prayer. That's the same thing we do there.
Amen.
God answered that prayer. That's why we write it down. And so we can see later on, and we can believe it when God said he's going to do this,
That's right.
and he did it. You can see that he actually did it. Now, part of this comes by faith. And to have faith in somebody, you have to know who they are. In the book of Luke, Zach preached on it at the sunrise service. We have to have an answer for who God is in our life. And in the book of Luke, chapter 9, the man I want to preach on tonight gives his answer for who he has faith in. Luke chapter 9, verse 18 says, And it came to pass, as he was alone praying, his disciples were with him, and he asked them, saying, Whom say the people that I am? So here he's asking, who do other people say I am? Who am I rumored to be? And they answering said, John the Baptist, but some say Elias, and others say that one of the old prophets is risen again. And he said unto them, But who say ye that I am? Who do you say I am? And as Zach said at sunrise service, we have to have an answer to that. We have to know who we have faith in, who we believe in, that will go and fulfill our vision.
Aye.
And Peter answering said, The Christ of God. Right there, he was referring to a prophecy written in Isaiah, where it says that he's a counselor. He's a Prince of Peace. He is the Almighty God.
Bless him.
He can fulfill that vision.
That's right.
Yeah.
You may not see it ever happening. The doctors may not ever say it'll happen.
Bless him.
But he can do it.
Yes, he can.
Amen.
And there's one more place I want to read tonight. Matthew chapter 14. And it's a story we all know. But I just want to point a couple things out to you. Now keep in mind, Matthew chapter 14 Jesus has just fed the 5,000. He's just pulled off one of the greatest miracles ever. And if you don't think that's a miracle, you go to a Baptist church, you've seen the Fellowship Hall when we eat. It's pretty hard to feed about 70 people, much less 5,000. Matthew chapter 14, starting in verse 22, said, "And straightway Jesus constrained his disciples to get into a ship and go before him into the other side, while he sent the multitudes away. And when he had sent the multitudes away, he went up into a mountain apart to pray. And when evening was come, he was there alone. But the ship was now in the midst of the sea, tossed with waves, for the wind was contrary." Now, this is all 12 disciples went on a ship to cross the sea. Not a big deal. A lot of these disciples, Jesus got right off ships. I mean, they should be able to handle the sea.
Yeah.
But then the storm of life came. Something they've handled so many times before, and a storm comes up right in their way. In verse 25 it says, "And in the fourth watch of the night, Jesus went unto them, walking on the sea." Just as they were beginning to question whether they'd make it. Men that have grown up on the sea, grown up living life, just as they begin to question themselves, peace walked in.
Bless it,
You know, it doesn't say Jesus rode in on a boat. He walked in. That's something I tried before. It's hard to walk on water. Usually I end up sinking right to the bottom pretty quickly.
Amen. Me too.
But even with a vision, because Peter knew who he believed in, and Peter was on this boat. He knew who he believed in, and he knew what he was doing. He knew he was following Jesus. Not like a Twitter or Facebook follow, but he was actually following Jesus. He left everything behind, everything he'd ever worked for, and went with Jesus. He knew he had his vision for what he wanted to be and what he wanted to do. And even with a vision, the storms of life came to him.
Yeah.
But peace walked in. In verse 26 it says, "When the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, 'It is a spirit,' and they cried out for fear." So they were afraid before. Now they're really afraid. Because not only are they facing a storm, they're facing a ghost.
Hey.
That's got to be scary. "But straightway Jesus spake unto them, saying, Be of good cheer, it is I. Be not afraid." And that's all he had to say. It is I. If you keep reading, it says, "And Peter answered him and said, Lord, if it be thou, bid me come unto the water. And he said, Come." One word, come. Now, you notice, the storms haven't been calmed yet. The storm is still raging. That boat is still getting tossed around. And Peter's about to step over the edge of the boat into the water. "And when Peter was come down out of the ship, he walked on the water to go to Jesus." Storms of life raging all around him. And he has enough faith to take a step over the edge of a boat and onto the sea. That's a lot of faith.
Amen.
That's knowing who you have faith in. To walk onto the raging sea. Something you were afraid of sitting in the boat. Now you're outside the boat. That's scary.
Yeah, man. Bless it, Lord.
And you notice he didn't take time to think about it. He just stepped right over it. In verse 30, "But when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried, saying, Lord, save me." See, Peter knew how he walked on the water. He knew it wasn't him. If it was him, he would have tried to save himself. But even going out there, having enough faith to step over the edge of the boat and onto the sea, he was still afraid. And he knew who allowed him to step over that boat. You know, he didn't cry for the 11 disciples behind him, right there on the ship,
Come on.
to come save him.
Right.
Bless it.
He cried for his Lord, his Master. He cried for Jesus to come save him. That's even more faith. Because if I'm able to walk on water, I don't want someone else walking on water to help me up, because I'm afraid I might pull them down with me. He just steps right over. When he starts to sink, he's like, Lord, I need you now. And there's exactly who he needs to call on. And the storms are still raging. He still hasn't calmed the storm.
Bless him.
Bless him, Lord.
And immediately, not after a couple seconds letting him sink, immediately Jesus stretched forth his hand and caught him and said unto him, O thou of little faith. That's us. You know,
Bless him.
look in comparison to some of these Bible heroes, we don't have much faith.
Amen.
I have yet to walk on water. And as many times as I've been fishing with my grandfather, I have yet to call fire down from heaven. Sometimes it's a miracle to get a fire started.
Bless him.
Bless him.
Amen.
Both these things happen with a prayer or less. And Jesus said unto him, O thou of little faith, wherefore didst thou doubt? He's asking, why did you doubt? Why? You knew who you believed in. I mean, we just sang songs about him this morning, last Sunday. We know who we believe in. Why do we doubt him?
Amen.
You know, Carl Partain preached on this during revival one night. It's not about whether God can. It's not. We don't doubt that he can. We know he can. He's done it all before. We doubt that he will.
Bless him.
You know, sometimes we have to put our own vision aside and know that God's got a better plan for us. I mean, it's that simple. Sometimes we have to trust that God will help us in our time of need.
Amen.
He won't let us sink all the way down. He'll reach out and catch you before you sink. But first he has to let you walk on a little bit of water. And he has to let you know, hey, it's because of me that you can do this. And something we got to remember, the same God that let Peter walk on the water, the same Jesus that Peter walked towards on the water and that caught Peter, is the same Jesus we have today.
Amen.
Amen. Yeah.
The only difference is the amount of faith we have. And the same God that allowed Elijah to call down the fire from heaven was right there with Elisha. And he's right here with us. It's just all about the amount of faith we have. It only takes a little bit of faith to take one step out. And the rest will just happen.
Amen.
Once you take that one step, once you overcome the fear of that first step, there's no point in stopping then. And once you take that first one, you know that. The second one will come easier. And Glenn, I'm almost done if you want to go and get a song ready. Now, you might be thinking, what does this have to do with a vision? What does this have to do with our goals in our life and what we want God to do? You see, what we have to remember is that God's able to supply for those visions. And God's able to supply for us. And God can guide you. God can guide you to that next miracle that you've been waiting on. And God can walk on the water with you. He'll be able to take you out. As that song you just listened to said, He'll be able to take you out into deeper waters. And where feet may fail. It means where you can't walk on your own, God can take you
Amen.
to those places.
Amen.
And God can change your circumstances.
Yes, sir.
Look in verse 32, it says, and when they were coming to the ship, the wind ceased. He didn't even have to say anything this time. He just had to step onto the boat. And you notice it's after they step onto the boat that the wind ceased. So all this is happening during a raging storm, and he just takes one step onto the boat, and the whole entire thing stops. And where you can't walk on water, where you can't call fire down, God can. That's powerful. Where you can't, God can.
Amen.
Philippians 4:13 says, for I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I'm going to close with reading the end of this chapter, because this should be a vision for all of us.
Amen.
In verse 33 it starts, "When they that were in the ship came and worshipped him, saying, Of a truth, thou art the Son of God.
Amen.
And when they were gone over, they came into the land," I can't even pronounce that. "And when the men of that place had knowledge of him, they sent out into all that country round about." I'm going to read that again. "And when the men of that place had knowledge of him," when they found out about Jesus, "they sent out into all that country round about, and brought unto him all that were diseased." They found out about Jesus, and then they went and brought other people to him. And it gets better. "And they besought him that they might only touch the hem of his garment. And as many as touched were made perfectly whole." That's power. That's the God we have to handle our darkest circumstances. That's the God we have that'll take us deeper than we ever thought imagined. That's the God we have. And Frankie, that's all I've got.
Bless you, Lord. Amen. Come on now, before we light. Lynn, can y'all sing that song you just sung again?
Yes, sir.
Haven't heard anything? Right there. Only Elijah to stand out front. I'm gonna let him stand up here by himself. And if he's helped you tonight, I want you to come take him by the hand and tell him thank you. Because there's times that we all doubt our vision. Oh, what is my vision of what you supposed to happen in your life? Has anybody been disappointed about your life before?
Yes, sir.
I don't know if I got the answer, but there's plenty of us that have been disappointed about the way things have turned out in some of our lives. But you know what Mr. Elijah has brought to us? There's still hope for our vision tonight. There's still hope. See, I didn't turn out real good when I first started for the Lord. I didn't turn out the way I thought it was supposed to be. Didn't do a real good job, Miss Shirley, of being the man that God wanted me to be and what I thought He wanted me to be. And see, at that time I thought the vision was over. But God has spoken to me and He has allowed me to receive my vision. There's still, you know what I'm saying? There's still hope for me. There's hope for me. I'm going to shake this little preacher's hand and thank him for reminding me. There's hope for me tonight.
Bless you.
You just wait on what God said He'd do for you. Just wait on it. Just carry it. Wait. The preacher said, wait, it's coming. The preacher said, don't leave, it's coming.
Bless you. Bless you.
Amen. It's coming. The preacher said, God said it, it's coming.
Yes, sir.
There's hope. There's hope. Hey, we ought to thank Him for the hope that He has brought us tonight in the vision. Because see, the devil thinks he's ruined your life.
That's right.
Well, David, and I don't want to get personal, but was there a time in our life where our life, you didn't see no hope, that you didn't see that vision of a family, the vision of having a good life, of having peace? Anybody ever lost that vision?
Yes, sir.
Did it ever get to where you couldn't see it no more? Ain't it so easy that when we're young to have visions and have hope, but when we get older, those visions begin to get weaker.
Slip away. Right. Fade away.
The little preacher stood tonight, said, there's hope. Said, just wait. Said, it ain't over yet.
Amen.
It ain't over yet. I love you tonight. Elijah, come out. I want to be the first one to shake your hand. Amen. But I want to leave tonight knowing that my vision, that what God has showed me, there's still hope for my life. There's still hope for me to accomplish the things that God has showed me. Don't give up on God, because God ain't give up on you.
Amen.
While we stand.
Are you looking for a place to worship God in spirit and in truth? Hello, I'm Frankie Green, pastor of Trinity Baptist Church in Auburn, Georgia. We would like to invite you to be in our service with us. Sunday school starts at 10, with morning worship at 11. Sunday evening worship begins at 6, and Wednesday night prayer service at 7. We are a King James Bible-believing, fundamental, independent Baptist church reaching out to those who need a special touch from God. For more information, you can visit us at trinitybaptistauburn.com or on Facebook at Trinity Baptist Church, Auburn. We welcome you to Trinity Baptist Church, where you will become part of a family.